ask for permission to call an audible just a little bit. Originally, and I thank Saul for reading from Romans chapter 6, but for the time that I have this morning, I actually want to show one more image of elders that's in the New Testament, and it's in Revelation, and specifically in Revelation chapter 5, at the beginning of Revelation chapter 5. So I'd like for you to turn there. I know it's a little bit of an audible to what's on there. Still the same topic, talking about leading to new life. Something about today's worship and today's gathering. And spending time with the elders this morning. And, every time before we gather here for worship, we meet together for a time of prayer. Really blesses my ministry. And we were walking through the steps of what's going to happen in just a moment with the New Life Blessing. Which, if you were wondering, what exactly do the elders do? And I know they shared with you last week, right? If you were in Bible class, did you pay attention? They went through, what did the elders do? What did the elders do? Chapter 5, starting in the beginning of the chapter, we'll look at. But what do the elders do? And it's like, okay, so that's what they said. Well, let me give you the preacher's perspective for just a moment. This eldership is very, very, there's never a time where we gather together where we don't pray. And I wanted you to see a scene. So I guess if I was to pick one, there's a lot of different ways and a lot of different images for eldership. Fascinating, we have a powerful image of elders in Revelation of all places. And I just want to draw your attention to this, and then I want to say a few things. This is Revelation chapter 5, starting in the first verse. Then I saw in the right hand of him who sat on the throne a scroll with writing on both sides and sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a mighty angel proclaiming in a loud voice, "Who is worthy to break the seals and open the scroll?" But no one on heaven or on earth or under the earth could open the scroll or even look inside it. I wept and wept because no one was found who was worthy to open the scroll or look inside. Then one of the elders said to me, "Do not weep. See, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has triumphed. He is able to open the scroll and its 7 seals." Then I looked, and I saw a lamb, looking as if it had been slain, standing at the center of the throne, encircled by the 4 living creatures and the elders. The lamb had 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God, sent out into all the earth. He went and took the scroll from the right hand of him who sat on the throne. And when he had taken it, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb. Each one had a harp, and they were holding golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of God's people. I love this theme. In April, we're going to spend some more time with the book of Revelation. I'm going to come back to this text. But I want to draw your attention to this heavenly scene because I think part of what God is doing in opening John's eyes to this revelation, to be able to witness the throne scene, is because John's able to bring that back, in a sense, in sharing this message, what he had seen, what God revealed to him here, and being able to behold this glorious vision and this glorious sight, is that John's going back to regular congregations that maybe don't look quite as glamorous or glorious or powerful. And he's going back to little gatherings of Christians who are meeting in homes and in different places, scattered all around. And it may look like some of the leadership or even some of the eldership is a little shabby or a little weak or a little lacking. Or it may be that whenever you see those elders gathered around and the Christians in the church gathered around and praying together alongside one another, that it just doesn't look like much. certainly there are times in your walk, in your prayer life, in your worship, or in your serving God that it felt a little small or a little insignificant. Or maybe you've even wondered, did that prayer that we just prayed actually go anywhere? Or did it just fall back down? This is a very helpful passage. This leadership, the ministers, this church, the Bible class teachers, from the children to the oldest who gather here, are serious about prayer, and specifically praying for this wonder that John moves us towards. The belief that not only do our prayers not fall empty, but that God is actually working out, and you and I participate in this. That when we join in prayer, when God's elders pray, and when the church prays, and when children pray, they do not fall back down to the ground, but those prayers are gathered together. And they're gathered together to meet God in the most holy place. And they are a sweet offering to God. And I want you to imagine for just a moment, what all are the prayers throughout the history of faith, the prayers of God's people that have been collected there and are continuing to be offered up. And every single prayer in faith that's ever been prayed, ever in history, is being answered with an affirmation of yes from God, with the Lamb standing there who is slain and yet He's standing. There's the answer. Can I tell you a little bit about some prayers? We started praying, the minister started praying 6, 7, 8 years ago about desiring to reach more people in Abilene. In 2019, that prayer culminated in a vision statement. We didn't hang it on any banners intentionally. It was instead a focus for us when we would gather, when we would meet, when we would pray, when we would think about different things. We had an intentional prayer and focus, asking God to help us and teach us, Lord, how can we reach more people with the gospel here in this city? How can we reach more people with the gospel in our neighborhood? And things like that. And I don't think the devil liked that. But our leadership did. And our eldership did. And they got behind it. And they prayed about it. And I don't think the devil liked it. 2020 happened. It wasn't a good year. It was not a good year for church. Meaning, we were scattered. It was hard to know how do we go forward? How do we reach people with the gospel and disciple people when we're trying to figure out, navigate all of this very challenging and fracturing things that were going on all around us. I think the devil wanted us to recoil back in and go, we tried, we worked hard, we prayed about it, we came up with a vision statement, we tried, and this happened, and some people left our church. And we could have become insular and go, you know what, we need to work back on just focusing on what already worked for us. But we didn't do that. We kept praying into it. In fact, the elders set some priorities for us in 2020, and really this goes through 2020 through 2022. But do you see the first priority that the elders set for us came out of a praying discernment? Advance the gospel. Now, that's hard work, by the way. It requires us to stretch. I don't know who grows more when a Bible study takes place. The one who's listening for the first time or the one who's trying to figure out how to tell them what they believe. It's mutual, the way the gospel works. And it caused us to stretch and grow in ways we didn't know all of our neighbors here. We still don't know all of our neighbors here around us, but we were serious about trying. One scene in particular I want to mention in 2021, and I'm telling you, we took some hits. I think the enemy was really trying to cause us to back down from these goals. We had some sufferings. Those of you who are here are aware. Painful times. In 2021, something beautiful happened, and strange, God's strange kind of stuff. We got a random phone call from a neighbor here in just literally a neighbor to where we're located. And the phone call the person didn't know us and we didn't know them, but they had one particular plea, and they said, here's a church right here, and I'm going to try, see what happens. Phone call said, I need God. Marco, you remember that phone call? I'll never forget it. Months later, there was a gathering right here. There'll be one in just a little bit. There was a gathering right here in this space. Marco was baptized, and then I don't know how many college students, Zach, looked like a swarm, all gathered around him here. Beautiful. It's powerful. And it seems like there has been a trickle down, and there have been several of you who are here, God sent to us just in these last few years. But we started praying. I want you to know that in that bowl that is there, the prayers of God that are sitting there before God's presence, my imagination is not big enough to dream up all the different prayers that grandmothers have prayed, and mothers have prayed, and fathers have prayed for children, for daughters and sons, for neighbors, for co-workers, to believe in Jesus Christ. But I know for a fact God received them. God heard us praying and asking, and we're still praying about this. You want to know something incredible? All glory goes to God here. The last 2 years in particular, the Holy Spirit has poured out. I think about Acts, signs and wonders, and it manifested in some different physical manifestations. Last 2 years, 45 baptisms. How many prayers were lifted up for every one person? That's not even to mention those who were coming home or those who were taking steps of faith, whatever that may have been in their life. So when you see the gathering that's about to come up here, when you see Anna Hamilton come up here to be baptized in just a few moments, Anna, just a few moments here. When you see that baptism take place, when you see the 16 or so that are gathered here, and the little ones too, Miss Jenny. Miss Jenny has prayed about little ones being born here. We've prayed with her. I don't want you to just see the faces and see the people. I want you to see the bowls of prayers that are before God in heaven that have led to this moment. Maybe today you're needing to take a next step. Our elders are here. I don't know if they're going to fall down on the ground, face down, but they will pray with you. They will listen to you. They will talk with you. They want to help you take those next steps. Elders, go ahead and go to the ends of the aisles at this time. Other prayer leaders, their spouses, some of our ministers, some of our members here are here to pray with you or here to help think through what are those next steps of faith. And even joining in this prayer. Go ahead and show them. And what is God going to do in 2025? I don't know. I know the enemy does not want this gospel to be shared. I know he doesn't want you to invite people to this church, because what we begin to notice is when people are invited here, God's just doing things and kicking the devil out people's lives. I can't wait to imagine the prayers and where they will lead us in this next year. And that makes me want to sing, Otis. Let's stand. Let's sing.